mga grammar friendship, this is PD and welcome to my channel, English Grammar with PD. So today I am actually doing my very first vlog, so I'm gonna be doing it the poor way. Alright, so I have been a teacher of English for around 4 years already, and yes, I did major in English, secondary in the University of the Cordilleras. So hi mga batchmates. And today we're going to talk about the foundation of learning the English grammar, the 8 parts of speech. It's kind of an easy topic, but you know, this is the most important thing when learning the English grammar. So you should know the 8 parts of speech. So I'll be doing it the faster way, okay? So I know that your teacher already told you that the first one is a noun, okay? And I know that a noun is actually the name of anything or everything or anyone. So it could be a name of a person, an event, or even an activity such as jogging or cooking. Those are actually considered as noun. So always remember when we are talking about noun, it's just the name of someone or something, anything. It's just the name, okay? All right. So many students, though, have a problem when it comes to the noun because they are not aware that there are actually different kinds of forms when it comes to noun. Like, for example, an adjective, which is poor, okay, can be a noun. All you have to do is to put the article the, and then we now have a plural noun. Yes, so if you have the article the, plus poor, which is an adjective, is equivalent to a plural noun. Why? Because when we say the poor, we're talking about the people who are poor. So when, for example, we say the poor is here, this is wrong. Okay, so we have to say the poor are here. Alright? Aside from that, a verb can also be a noun. Yes, a verb can also be a noun. So for example, we say planting trees. Okay, alright, planting trees or is or are fun. So this is actually the common mistakes of many students because they think that the subject is the trees and that they're going to choose the are, which is actually wrong. In the sentence, the subject or the noun that we are talking about here is actually planting, but it looks like a verb. No, it is a noun. That is what we call a gerund. In the same way, so meaning to say the subject is planting, right? So our verb would be is, alright? So that is actually a verb that looks like, well, it's a verb that became a noun, right? Aside from that, we also have to play, alright, is fun. So as you can see, we say to play is like an action of doing to play something or to play a game or sport, something like that. So as you can see here, to play is not a noun here. This is actually a noun. Therefore, in this case, when it comes to noun, guys, don't be confused or you have to be aware that nouns can be of any kinds of forms. Like for example, an adjective becoming a noun or a verb becoming a noun. And don't you worry, I'll be making some separate videos about those one. Okay. So secondly, we now have the pronoun. Okay. So as the name suggests, it actually, if we're going to divide the vocabulary pronoun into two, it has two divisions, which are pro and noun. Well, that's just based on my understanding. When we say pro, it actually means agree. Okay, agree with the noun. Okay, so always remember that the pronoun substitutes, okay, the pronoun substitutes what? The noun. When we say substitute, in place of something, alright? So for example, we say PD is here, alright? And then I would say on the next sentence, they are happy. Okay, as you can see here, the name that we are talking about is PD, which is the noun. However, if you're going to check the second sentence, we use the pronoun they. Do you think I'm plural? I'm just of one person, okay? So I'm not people, alright? So anyways, this is wrong. So it must be he, okay? So the correct answer should be he's happy, right? So we have to say like PD's here, he's happy. Do not say like PD's here, they're happy, because that would be not following the use of the pronoun, which is always agreeing with the noun, alright? Maybe you read or you've heard someone saying something like this, like for example, someone stole my pen. Okay, alright, and then however, we actually say however he or she forgot to close the door. Alright? So as you can see here, we actually have here the noun, which is someone. We use someone because we don't know the gender of the person. So as you can see here, we use he or she. However, sometimes in some books, instead of saying he or she, they actually use the pronoun they. Why? Well, nowadays, we are actually not following some of the rules in respect to other genders. Well, that's the explanation that they said. Because when you say he or she, you're just pertaining to a man or a woman. So some people argue that how about the lesbians or the bisexuals or the gays? They said that when using the he or she, it's kind of ignoring the other sexes or genders, I should say. So that's actually with the pronoun. Okay, so after the noun and the pronoun, we now move on to the verb. Okay. Well, in the Philippines, when we ask many students, when we ask the meaning or the definition of a verb, they used to say that a verb is an action word. Well, it's correct. But then again, when it comes to a verb, it's not only talking about an action verb. Because, for example, if I say, I am happy, well, am is not an action, right? And the sentence does not actually connote an idea of having an action. So therefore, always remember that a verb describes an action. Okay, these are the action words. At the same time, they also talk about the state. When we say state, in Tagalog, sitwasyon, or in English we say situation, the state, the condition. Like how are you feeling today? For example, I would say like I'm under the weather. Okay, under the weather is an idiom which means to say feeling bad. Okay, so if I say I'm under the weather, so as you can see here, I actually use the verb be verb am. So therefore, I didn't use an action word. So this case, the sentence I'm under the weather, I'm actually talking about a state or condition. However, when it comes to the action word, if I say like I play guitar or I play the guitar, alright, the correct answer is supposed to be is I play the guitar. Well, there's a rule there, but I'm going to be teaching it in the next vlog, okay? So always remember, this is actually in connection to the action. So always remember, when it comes to verb, it talks about an action and a state, a condition or situation, phenomenon, whatsoever. And when it comes to the verb, there are actually different kinds of verbs. So first, of course, we have the action words, alright? What are the examples of action words? We have eat, study, go, come, something like that. So we have the first one is the action verb, alright? The second one, however, is now what we call the modal verbs, okay? Well, the modal verbs, they are actually talking about the possibility, or it could be a possibility, or we're talking about an ability, or it talks about a necessity, alright? Okay? Necessity. So always remember that when it comes to modal verbs, these are verbs that talks about a possibility. For example, I might go. So as you can see here, we use the modal verb, which is might. It talks about the possibility that I'll go, but I'm not sure, okay? And don't you worry, I'll be creating another video again for the modal verb. But anyways, one of the kinds of verb is modal verbs. So we have action verb, modal verbs, and aside from that, we have the state verb or stative verbs, okay? The stative verbs includes the be verbs. What are the be verbs again? We actually have 8 be verbs, right? One of them is am, another is and are. So these are actually examples of be verbs. So when it comes to stative verbs, they don't really are used to show an action, but they are used to talk about a state, as what I mentioned before. So the number 4 kind of verb is actually the auxiliary or the auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb is so easy because when you hear the vocabulary auxiliary, don't feel confused, because auxiliary is just the synonym of helping. Alright, so if you say auxiliary police, meaning to say they are the police who are preserve in case of help, alright? So we actually have the auxiliary verb, or what we call the helping verbs. So anyways, guys, I'm just be introducing to you the next topics that I'll be discussing in the future vlogs. So we have the action verb, modal verb, state verb, which includes the be verb, and we do have now the auxiliary verb. So aside from this one, we have the verb. The next one is the adjective. So always remember, guys, that the number 4 parts of speech is the adjective. Yes, you are correct. An adjective describes, always remember, guys, it describes the noun or the pronoun. Alright? So the work or the job of an adjective is to talk about the noun or the pronoun, to give information, to modify, or to give some to give some information about the noun. Alright? Like, for example, we say pretty. Okay, a pretty girl. So for example, we say here a pretty girl. Okay, a pretty girl is here. So if we remove the vocabulary pretty, which is an adjective, it's kind of be confusing for us to think or to imagine what kind of girl is he or she talking about. So that's actually the use of an adjective. So be careful also, because adjectives can go in many kinds of forms, for as long as you are following the definition. So always remember that an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. Alright, so for example, the sentence is here, like, I bought, okay, a book, right, to read. In this case, do you think there's no adjective in the sentence? I bought a book to read. Well, to tell you honestly, there is an adjective here, which is... Yes, we have here the adjective, which is to read. This is an adjective. Why? Going back to the meaning of adjective, an adjective gives information about the noun or the pronoun. So as you can see here, we have here a book, which is a noun, right? So what kind of book did I buy? Did I buy a book that I could sell, or did I buy a book that I could give as a gift? No, I bought a book that I'm gonna be reading. So as you can see here, to read here is an adjective describing about the noun, which is the book. Alright, so always remember that adjective is not only the typical